Well, I have got with me here our new presenter for Pure 24/7 Radio. His name's Andy Brown. He's doing the 90s show. Hello, Andy.
Good morning.
So we have got your show starting next week, which is really exciting. It's the 90s show. We've been doing 90s music for a while. You're now taking over the show, which is really exciting. What can we look forward to?
Well, it's primarily a music show, of course. So lots of 90s music. Our sort of motto for the 90s show is more music, only 90s, all pure. So I'm going to try my best not to get in the way of that. It'll be great to be able to kind of share some great music from the 90s. I think I grew up in the 90s. My sort of era of music was the 90s. So I love all that stuff. It's what I grew up with. My sort of favorite stuff is Britpop, but I love all the kind of things we got in the 90s. So I'll be playing a good selection of songs, which I hope you can enjoy. Alongside of that, I've got a number of features which you can look forward to. So things like a question of the week. So each week you'll be able to kind of come and have a go at that question. So so I'll be doing things like that and playing some of that music and generally having a good time. So I hope everyone enjoys it.
Excellent. So what do we need to know about you? What can you tell us about yourself that perhaps would be less commonly known?
Oh, less commonly known. Well, so I live in Essex. I live in the south of the UK. I've a father of four girls, married to Helen. We're coming up to our 15th wedding anniversary. Apart from that, as I say, I mean, I do love my music of all kinds of different eras, but particularly 90s. I am a leader in our local church. So I get to help run the church and do different things there. I work on the finance committee, but I also get to run services from time to time, which is a real privilege. Apart from that, one of my big hobbies is my animals, my dog in particular. I recently got a puppy, so she's quite a handful. She's about 4 months old now. And I love looking after her. I love playing with her, taking her for walks and things. But she's going to be a big dog, so she's quite a force of nature. So that keeps me busy.
What sort of dog's that then?
So it's a bit of a mix. So it's a German Shepherd primarily, but she's got a bit of husky in her as well. So she looks like a husky, but I'm hoping that she'll be trainable like a German Shepherd. Because huskies are not known for being very trainable, but one of my favourite kinds of dogs and a dog I've always wanted. So I sort of took the plunge. I always said I would do it when I retired, when I had loads of time. But you know how life is. Life can be a bit unpredictable at times, and you put these things off, and sometimes they don't happen. So I had an opportunity, so I decided to take the plunge. Maybe with 4 children, a whole bunch of other animals, and a full-time job, and now presenting a radio show. I haven't got a ton of free time, but you know what, I'm loving it. So why not? Why not?
Dogs are good for walking, though, right? So it's exercise.
Absolutely, yeah, I do. I like to try and keep fit. As I say, I don't have a huge amount of free time. I used to, well, years and years ago, I used to be kind of a regular gym member, but not so much these days. Now it's primarily walking if I can get out with the dogs and get some fresh air. We're coming into winter now, so it's going to be interesting with the shorter days and the wet weather and the cold weather, but yeah, no, the dogs will need a walk every day, so I'll keep up with the exercise. Good for me, good discipline for me.
So 90s tunes, that's what you like. That's your kind of era for music. Have you got a favourite band or bands? You said Britpop was your thing, but what about specific bands?
So my favourite band is probably Oasis, not because they're the best musical band that there ever was, but more because that's the band that really got me into music and got me into guitar and all this kind of stuff when I would have been around my teenage years, around the mid 90s. And I remember particularly, I mean, definitely Maybe was their first album, which was a great album. But the album I remember in particular was What's the Story, Morning Glory, which was probably with me and my friends at school at that sort of time. That was the big album of the time. But yeah, there's loads of other bands. It was always a bit of a choice, Oasis or Blur. But I do like Blur, but Oasis was always my preference. Those are some of the big bands, but it's not just Britpop. I really like Alanis Morissette, for example. She's got an amazing voice, and I really like what she can do with her voice and some of her songs, not all. People like Dido, The Cause, all these kind of bands and singers who were around at that sort of time. and really just, yeah, like I say, just the soundtrack to my teenage years, I guess. And it just brings back lots of memories with growing up and listening to that music, and the days when you used to, buy CDs and you'd listen to a whole CD from start to finish, not like my children now, who have all the streaming services where they can just play the same song over and over, or have a whole variety through streaming and playlists and all that kind of thing. But no, I remember Christmas mornings having a CD or two in my Christmas stocking and really enjoying, just sitting back and listening to some of these songs, some of this music.
Oh yeah, CDs, the cellophane coming off for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good feeling.
Yeah, definitely. And I used to run I don't know why I remember this. It's funny the things you remember. Running my thumbnail down the edge of the CD case to take that cellophane off, and it was a bit risky. I remember cutting my finger once doing that, but yeah, it's you don't have that kind of that little pleasure anymore. It's a new album comes out and you can instantly just talk to your smart speaker or get it online and listen to these things now. But nothing really beats having it in your hands, and the artwork, the album cover, and looking through the song list and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, there is something special about holding a CD. I was listening to an album on Spotify, and then I went the next day and it had gone. I don't know why. And I know that some of the compilations change, and they change the versions when they upload them. I just think, but I want the original. I want the CD version. There's a familiarity, I think, because you know what order the songs are, you know the style, you know the format, and you know when you hit play, it's going to work.
Absolutely. It's the same with books, isn't it? It's electronic books, are really great, but it's not the same as having a physical paper copy in your hand. And like you say, these things, you never really own anything anymore, do you? With electronic things, you might have a library or something, but if these companies disappear or something, then all your content goes as well. So it's a shame. You can't beat having a CD, which is why it's so good with a radio station, having every song we play. I think is you have the CD behind you. So it's great to be able to listen to those.
So Britpop is a thing, but you have a wider interest. Oasis was your favourite band. Do you remember your first ever music purchase? Was it vinyl, cassette, CD? Do you remember what it was?
Do you know, I have thought about that, and I'm trying to remember desperately what it was, and I can't really remember. I think the very first album I really remember getting in my hands was a cassette tape. So my children certainly wouldn't know what a cassette tape was, but it was Bad by Michael Jackson. That album, I remember. I don't know if someone bought it for me, or if I think I would have been probably just slightly too young to buy it myself, but. I remember having that on cassette with the sort of the black and white front cover, and so I particularly remember that. Whether it was my very first one, I just can't remember, but I remember the album in particular, and some of the songs from that.
So 90s tunes, Thursdays, 6 till 8. Am I right with that? That's the right time, isn't it?
Yeah, 6 till 8 every Thursday.
Thursday 6 till 8. Are we allowed to ask you what your first song is going to be, or do you want us to wait and see?
You can ask me, but I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna let people listen in and find out what I'm gonna play for my first song.
Cool. You mentioned features in the show. What features have we got? How can we get involved?
So as I say, question of the week is going to be one of the features of the first hour. So I'm going to give you a question, and then people can message in or reply on the social media channels to tell me what they think, and then the following week I'll give you the answer and a shout out if you get that right. As well as that, I'm going to play Andy's Anthem, which is going to be essentially a song of the week, my choice of the song of the week. And although I'll probably say this on the show, but a bit of an excuse for me to play some of my favourite songs from the era. Alongside that, I'll also be talking about plans for the weekend. The show goes out on a Thursday evening, so of course by then people are already turning to the weekend thinking about what they're going to be doing. So absolutely thinking about that and asking people to share with me what they're going to be doing this coming weekend.
So here's a question. When I first said, Andy, do you fancy doing a 90s show? What was your first reaction?
My first, I love the music. To be honest, I've not much experience in the way of being a radio presenter. So my first thought was, my goodness, how could I do that? How could I possibly handle that? So it was quite daunting, and obviously getting to grips with the tech and the software and getting everything right. And I'm used to speaking, but there's a lot more to it than that, and timing and everything else. So I was quite daunted. but I was also excited. I think it's great to be able to be a part of Pure 24/7 Radio and be able to share some of this music. So yeah, a bit mixture of I was a bit anxious but very excited as well, and I suppose I'm still in that place now. Really, I'm really excited, really looking forward to the first show, but a little bit nervous as well. So I hope everybody enjoys the music, but I hope I come over okay as well, and that people enjoy the show as a whole.
Well, we're looking forward to getting you on the station and doing this properly and really seeing what you can do with that show, which is really exciting. So thank you for joining the station. And yeah, we're looking forward to your show very much. So thank you, Andy, for joining me today. It's been great getting to know you a little bit. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do when you take ownership and you just, take it off and make it your own.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm very much looking forward to the show, and I hope everyone listens in and enjoys it.
Cool. Thanks very much.
Thank you.